anybody's ever done, but I always thought a flea market would be a good place.
What?
Flea market would be a good place to have music.
I guess it would.
I never did ever think of it.
There's a lot of flea markets down in Carolina around, and I went to one. Funny thing, sometime back, I went to. Okay, we have to be careful what we say.
Yeah, right. We'll have to take everything back.
Yeah, fella back to station wagon in and just covered up with fiddles all over the top and good. And I thought, well, goodness gracious, I'm going to check that out. Curious to know. And you know, there's all kind of fiddles and good ones. So I walked over there, and some fella recognized me from somewhere, I don't know. He said, "Hey, that's Jim Shoemaker from the Grand Ole Opry." And I hadn't been to the Grand Ole Opry in years, but he remembered. So people just come flogging in from every direction. The man was showing me one of his fiddles, so I seen I was going to, something started there, so I just laid it down, slipped in the crowd. They have some big flea markets. They really do. There's some good ones. There's a lot of people. I guess he sold a lot of them. There's a lot of people.
Yeah. I wish I had a better eye for a fiddle. I've got some good fiddles, but and I have to get, in order to tell if it's any good or whether it suits me or not, I just have to get a hold of it and play it for a while.
Yeah.
But there's fellas, that they can look at it, boy, right
off
tell
the
right.
bat, yeah.
I wished I had an eye like that. If you had a good eye,
like
you could
you,
make it
I can't tell a thing about one until I draw the bow across. I stopped in a pawn shop down in the Hickory some years ago. I saw one in the window. Well, I saw a clock, really, is what I went in to see, but I got in there, and the man recognized me right off the bat and asked me would I take a look at the fiddle he had. And John, that's the best fiddle. I've never had one in my life that good.
Well, to me, what we call bluegrass music started when Earl and Bill stepped on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry for the first time.
I don't think
And you're the one that was responsible.
I don't think there's any question about it being on the ground floor. I feel like it really started taking a hold when Lester, Earl and myself started in Bristol.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the first time that the music had that form, because it was centered, the music immediately became centered around Earl's banjo picking.
Yeah.
I remember years ago when those records would come out and they would say, with 5-string banjo, to get people to buy them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think there's any question about Earl revolutionizing, so to speak, the 5, but I guess he would eventually have made the offer. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time.
I think Bill is probably the greatest country musician that ever was.
Yeah,
the greatest
no
singer,
question about
songwriter, and the people perform his music more than anything else.
That's right.
But as far as the band style that we call bluegrass music, it was when Earl and, for me, it's when Earl and Bill came together,
That's
which
right.
Earl was really the spark plug of it.
Yeah, I don't know how many magazine people have asked me if I remember the tune that Earl and me and him, when I called Bill and had him come out to the hotel, Too Late Hotel, we played about 3 tunes, just a mandolin and fiddle and banjo. And I don't know how many magazine people, news people have asked me if I remember the tune, and I have no idea what they were. But I guess you might say that was sort of the start of the whole thing, really. Because he could pick like nobody else, no question about that. And he made these young people want to pick. And I play a lot, like I said, some of these colleges, they have these little bluegrass groups. They'll either be trying to pick like you or pick like Earl, and Earl Crow, that's you. And it's something that hangs on. bluegrass music will never die out because it started.
Well, it's old-timey music.
Yeah.
It's been here.
It's something that
it's old.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the name bluegrass music is modern, but the music itself is older than country music.
Oh yeah, it started back in 1927.
Oh, it's older than that.
When the Carter family and Jimmy Rogers.
Probably started back in England and Scotland. That's the truth to know about it.
I'm glad to be a part of it.
I am too.
That's for
I
sure.
am too.
Hello there.
You know this fella here? That's Jimmy Shoemate. Yep. That's who that is. All right.
And this is John Hartford here.
Back to you when about 7, 8 years old.
Uh-huh.
You probably never heard of the show they had in Missouri called the Ozark Jubilee.
Yes, I did.
Okay, we put Ronnie on a bus and a tag on him and sent him down there to sing.
You put a
on
tag
that
on him.
show.
How old was he?
He was about 8 or 9.
Oh my God.
And they had another little girl down there singing, and they wanted two, wanted a boy and a little girl for a special show.
Uh-huh.
The other little girl was Brenda Lee.
Oh.
Have you ever seen anybody look more like her daddy than that
No,
girl?
I was just thinking that.
They
Yeah,
always,
because I hadn't seen her name Louise
they always
yet.
used to say, I don't know who them girls are, but they're Stonemans, I know. But that's Grandpa's dog.
You can tell. Got
Who are
it.
you filming?
You. He's catching the visiting beforehand.
Yeah, music is a gift from God, no question about that. I'm 77. I can play the fiddle today better than I could when I was making a living at it back at the Grand Ole Opry when I was 22. That's got to be a gift from God, no question about that. And I don't forget to thank Him every day for it.
Right.
And I'm sure you do too. Because it's just something that everybody don't have. I don't have it as good as I'd like it.
Well, we
I'm
never.
very
None of us ever.
I'm very happy with what I can do.
None of us ever do that. I've never been satisfied with that.
Yeah.
What was the name of that town over at Virginia?
He's from Scottsville.
Scottsville. We used to play a little theater there with Reno and Smiley. And all
Right, the Victory Theater.
that. Yeah, and he may have seen them over there, but he wanted to play that band. But then him and Don became great friends. And Don, when he was up there at 2 weeks, they'd sit out. Red and Don lived in a trailer too in mobile home. We was in a mobile home. And they'd sit out there in the evening and all, and Don would show him stuff on the banjo and all.
I'll be darned.
And that's probably why he took the Reno style more than any other.
Well, he always thought that Don was one of the kindest people. He says back then there was only about 10 banjo players and most of them hated each other. He says, but Reno and I always got along real well, and I always thought a lot of him.
Well, Don could play any instrument well, the guitar. So he didn't mind showing anybody. And he sort of had a slogan: if you want to play different, you learn what everybody else knows and never play it. And then you got
That's a
something.
great way of putting it.
And that's what they did.
That's terrific.
You had this back in 1965.
That's a copy of Bill Monroe's contract to play the first Bluegrass Festival.
Well, I declare.
And look how much money he got. For a day for him and a four-piece
And
band.
his band,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I declare.
That's a copy.
This is really worth something for sure.
That's a copy, I got there. But and he was the highest paid act on it. I mean, the Stanleys were living in Live Oak, Florida, and came all the way for $250 a day. But that was money. Then, if you got a flat rate, it was something.
Oh yeah.
But
Did he work 3 days?
No,
Did he
2.
He worked 2 days.
Saturday and Sunday.
Go back and forth like that. And that way you can, no, 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 and that da 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 da, da 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 da. It's just perfect. But this one up here that I can do it with that thumb.
And they're so easy to tune.
They're beautiful, absolutely
Easy to
beautiful.
tune, and you can put one on a banjo. All you have to do is just take the strings off and just set it on there and put the strings back
That's
on.
it.
There's
Yeah.
no.
I had to kind of the one wouldn't fit over that thing exactly right. I took a file and just a 64th off that one side of it. Stick right over. There's only one thing though, where the second string goes up across through there. It hits the Yikes. It hits the bottom of the top of that can, because it goes on the top of the can. And I don't know what to do about that. But that guy,
I need to get him to come down here. You ought to meet him sometime.
we need to do that, and we need to get him to make a few more of them.
Yeah.
I can sell
Oh,
them.
he's probably made a bunch of them.
Henry Lewis.
Henry Lewis.
The first I ever saw that was Johnny Wisner's, way back in the 50s. But he just had little wires on his head, but they worked. But this is the best idea I've
Well,
seen. in a long time.
this is the latest in a long. I've seen over the years. I've known Henry probably 40 years, and this is the latest development. I've seen him with stuff on the end of his banjo that looked like a gasoline engine out there. I mean, just levers and all kinds of stuff, and he's got it refined down to this. And you know what? The other thing that's great about it, and you might know if you've noticed it or not, it's shining.
Oh, yeah.
And you can catch that spotlight and shine it around on people's faces in the audience.
They'll dodge, and you can and you can move with them, and then they'll dodge, and you can move some more.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. But I was looking for you earlier because I wanted to ask you who that guy was, and if there was any more of them, or do you suppose he'd be interested in making.
I'll have to try to get a hold of him.
Henry Lewis, West Jefferson.
West Jefferson, North Carolina.
And where did you meet him?
Years ago when I was growing up, he come in from North Carolina to work at a car plant there in St. Louis. And he found me and Marvin and Clifford and all those guys that played music, and just kind of joined in.
Well, let me tell you one. Butch Robbins was in high school. We came over to Atlas House in Roanoke, in Reno. You know, he wanted to play a band, saw him on TV, and Bill drove up there and heard Butch play, and he said, "What do you do?" "I'm in high school." "Well, when you get out, I want you to play banjo for me." Okay. So 2 years later, he finished high school, called me. I said, "Well, when the next man quits, I'll put you on the list," because I supplied the music for about 10 or 12 years.
Yeah.
Bill called me the band. I said, "Remember that boy was in high school? Yeah, bring him down here." I brought him down here, and they started rehearsing, you know, playing something. In a few minutes, Butch played some Scrubs, you know, and got on one. I said, "I wouldn't play it that way." Butch, you know, those are high school. A few minutes, he'd seen Reno, just loved Reno, you know, and the next song or something, he went to the bar call, you know, looked at me and grinned. Got under that song, said, "Look, I wouldn't play it that way either." A few minutes, he did some Sonny Osborne, and Monroe just stopped in that song and said, I just wouldn't play it that way. I said, "Son, you can't play like nobody else now. You got to play like yourself." "How you do that?"
You do that.
Monroe looked straight at him and said, "You learn what everybody else knows and never play it."
And never play it.
I hope I get to tell that.
You should tell that one, absolutely.
You learn what everybody else knows
Yeah,
And there's a lot of truth to that.
yeah.
and never play it.
Come over here. I want to get my picture with you.
Oh my goodness.
Me and this little darling worked 50, 40, 42, 52.
No, 50
Grandpa,
years ago.
50 years ago we worked together, Grandpa Jones, and they got married on one of our tours. Took a whole night honeymoon. Didn't you, honey?
One whole day.
We've always loved Grandpa and Ramona Jones, and now we love her daughter, Lisa.
Good to
Sweetheart.
see you again.
Yeah, you too, darling.
Then I had at Camp Springs in 70, Osmonds had gone electric, you know,
Yeah.
and they set their thing up. And I always had them to follow Monroe or somebody. I didn't put Bill in a 10:30, 11 o'clock spot. I wanted people to hear him, hear the music. You know that, because I followed.
Right.
I took you in Berryville, made you follow the Osmonds, man. I'll tell you about it. But they'd done set their thing up, you know, and I'd let them use 3 monitors. And they had them straight back because they still out. But they were to be after Monroe. So I was fixing to bring Bill on when I walked through the door. I said, "Wait a minute, Bill, they got them monitors straight back." I'm going to turn the two on the end. I'm going to turn them in a little bit, and you can hear them better. He said, you don't have to do that. I've already heard what comes out of that.
You don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that. I've already heard what comes out of that.
Yeah.
Man alive.
He just say a few words.
Just one line.
A line is all he say. And you know, as long as I worked with him, I never figured him out. And I don't think he wanted anybody to figure him out.
Oh, I don't think he could be figured out. Honestly.
I never knew if he was serious or if he was joking. I never knew that.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm writing a book on this.
Are you? Good.
Musical writing.
Yeah.
And if I get to tell the stories, you'll hear them again. I think that's why they got me here. But I said to him, Bill, I'm going to write a book someday. I said, well, I can trust you because you don't play and sing. I couldn't steal a thing, I said, well, now you tell me something. I want to know how you get them notes. So it's clear and they're stronger than the other. They jump at it.
Yeah.
Well, now if I tell you, I said, no, I ain't going to tell nobody. Someday I'll put it in the book, but it'll be long. All right. Well, you see, I can count the strings. I said, well, I can count the strings. I mean, you got 4 sets of 2s is 8 strings. No, I can count how many times they go up and down. I said, man, what are you doing? Well, now I just told you. I said, well, okay. Like he thought I was going to call him a liar, and he can't stand it. So a year goes by, that worried me. I was going to print that, but so I went back to him. I said, yeah, I got to ask. He said, you can count them strings. How you do that? And if I tell you, I said, well, I ain't going to tell anybody. Well, you see, I count them with my left hand. I said, you count them with your left hand, how you do that? Well, you see, my finger's sitting on the string. My finger's sitting on the string. And he could count them vibrations. He could tell exactly when he got that vibration on that note right.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You see, with his finger sitting on the finger, under his finger there?
Yeah.
And he knew exactly how the vibration of every one of them that way.
Yeah, from the vibration.
Yeah.
Well, I listen to your program every Sunday night. I'm on WSM.
Well, good.
Brings back a lot of memories there.
Jim said he watched me on 39 on Sundays.
Yeah.
Do you know who made the musical scale?
Do I know who made the musical scale? Well, I think there's more than one musical scale, but the one we use, no, I don't know who made
The
it.
12-note scale.
No.
A Greek mathematician named Pythagoras.
Mm-hmm.
That made Pythagorean theorem. He gave the circle 360 degrees. You want to build a building, you divide 4 into that, make each corner 90, and it meets. You've heard of A440 as standard pitch. Mm-hmm. You know what that is? You divide them 440 vibrations up to make every note of music. Like you would the 360 to make every building in the corner. And how did he do it? You've heard A440 as standard pitch. You've heard that.
Yeah.
Tuning. You know, octave is when you double the vibration of a note. So A under 440 is 220. A under that's 110. A under that's 55. The third string on a bass is the A string. When you tune it properly, it vibrates 55 times a second. Fifth string on a guitar is the A string. Tune it properly, 110. The second fret on the G string of the banjo, A220. The second string on Monroe's mandolin and fiddle is A 440 vibration. You want me to blow your mind now?
Tell me.
Monroe never let 2 instruments play in the same octave. Now he's got 4 overtones.
Mm-hmm.
Now the fiddle and him are the same. So when Chubby started playing, he couldn't play. What did he do? Started putting a rhythm lick between each note. See them 4 notes? There's a rhythm lick.
Yeah.
And I said, why, Bill, did you do it? Well, I wanted to speed him up a little bit. He was playing too much like square dance. And I said, well, right. And see, then all he wanted, now, the bass is not a time instrument. A lot of people don't know the bass is a melody instrument. Did you know that?
Well, it can be, yeah,
Yeah,
but it
I
doesn't